Is China really our enemy? You better hope not. This is Thunder Hands. My friends call me Thunder. And today I'll say it's Lei Xiao, which means Thunder Hands in Chinese. I actually used that name to open my YouTube channel years and years ago because I know a lot about the Chinese people. I know a lot about the Chinese culture. I know about the Chinese martial arts. I know about Chinese strategy because I was deep into that culture and deep into uh, the martial arts, and I learned Soi Li Ho Fut Hung, which is one of the deadliest martial arts there is from China, uh, and from one of the ancient monasteries there. And I know a little bit about China, and I'm not like what you'd call an expert on China, but I know a lot about China, and I know how they think. I know how the Chinese people think. I know about their medicine. I know about their strategic thought because I've read Sun Tzu's Art of War many times. Uh, let me tell you a little something about China. China is one of the oldest civilizations on Earth. Uh, the United States and the USA and America can't even come close. What are we talking, 600 years here? Let me tell you how far back they found Homo erectus, or upright man, in China 1.26 million years ago. And the first creation of fire, okay? And if you want to get into more modern history, at least 4,000 or 5,000 years old, okay? And some even think that the native people are part, came over on the land bridge from the east, okay? Now, again, it's an ancient civilization and an ancient culture. How can you compare a culture that old with something like the United States, whose culture is 600 years old, 700, I don't know, somewhere around there? How long has the U.S. been here? I don't know. Who cares? Kind of. So if you're talking about making China your enemy, I really would think twice about that. And that seems to be kind of what's happening right now. The USA is like blaming everything on China with this stock market thing and the financial thing. And I'll tell you what, their financial history, the I Ching coins that I use, the little coins with squares in the middle, I mean, that goes back ancient, okay. Uh, they were way ahead of the game in all kinds of areas, okay, like finances and creating money, and they were the first ones to invent gunpowder, okay, fireworks. Uh, so you're talking about a people here that really have their shit together, okay, and have had for a long time. I don't care what you see as the leaders today, or you can call them communists or whatever you want to call them. We're talking about how they think. Okay, we're not talking about, and we're talking about ancestral tradition, and we're talking about their strategies. Okay. So could this be a strategy with the financial thing? And who knows? They'll never let us know, and we probably will never find out. But it seems to be coming up right now. It seems to be the red tide rising, okay? Because you got conflicts in the region over there with these new islands they're building, and you got advanced weaponry. And look at what China did. Let's they like to win, like Sun Tzu says, they like to win a battle without fighting. If you can win a battle without fighting, isn't that the better way to win? And that's the way they think. They will fight. They will fight. But they'd rather win without fighting. Okay? And Sun Tzu said all kinds of things like this. Their strategy is to win without fighting and to be like 6, 7, 8, 10 steps ahead of the enemy. And their medicine is thousands of years old too. And the I Ching, which I throw and consult, the ancient oracle, is thousands of years old and was first done with bones and cracked tortoise shells. And they have the game of Go, okay, which is, if you compare that to chess, it's eons, light years ahead of chess. And it is a game of strategy. And the basic tenet, or the basic thrust of the game, or the goal of the game, is to encircle one's enemy. To encircle one's enemy. And it's played with little stones, black and white stones, yin and yang. And you've heard me talk about that plenty of times, yin and yang. So Thunder knows a little bit about the Chinese, okay? I've never been to China. I would have liked to gone there. Might still go there, who knows? They might come here. I might not have to go there. They might come over here. I think that the U.S. is deathly afraid of China. I think China knows it, and it remains to be seen what will happen. Okay, it remains to be seen. And we're kind of idiotic in this country, and I say we, I have no part of it, but whoever's running the show here, where did all the jobs go, people? Where did most of the jobs go? Well, when you go to the store now and you buy like goods, clothes, I'm talking anything. I mean, I even have a radio, a shortwave radio called Baofeng, which is awesome. I mean, you can talk around the world on the thing, and it's like no bigger than a cell phone almost. Their technology is way, way far advanced, okay? The United States doesn't have anything like a Baofeng radio. It is said they have supersonic, hypersonic, not supersonic, hypersonic aircraft. It wouldn't surprise me, because remember, these are the people that invented gunpowder. Boom. They invented the ancient martial arts, the best ways of fighting, strategy. So they used this strategy, and guess what? They somehow garnered all the jobs. Let's look at this history now, recent history. They somehow garnered all the jobs and got all the jobs, the production of things, okay, producing goods. They got the technique, and a lot of the technique and know-how from us. They're master spies also. I don't know if you knew that, but they are. They're master manipulators. You don't want to mess with them. And you don't want to go around saying, China did this and China did that. And now here we are accusing China of such and such a thing, and we're the biggest, I think, probably the biggest buyers of their goods. Okay, again, you can't go to any store or anywhere and not look at the label and it says made in China or, excuse me, made in Taiwan, which is part of China. And that's another area that we're messing in over there that they don't like right now. We have NGOs over there, and we're trying to use that little situation against China too, and that's an important strategic place for the U.S. Chinese don't like that. China doesn't like it. And when they don't like something, they never forget, okay? So they took all our jobs, okay, basically. They took all the manufacturing and production of goods. And who's buying those goods? Well, the U.S. is buying those goods, okay? And we have a tight trade partnership with China, and so you scratch your head and you go, how can we have such a tight partnership with China on a trade level and on a monetary level, and yet sit there accusing them of destabilizing our economy? Okay. I would think that it's more that we mismanaged our economy here, and that China will will see an opening with that and make the best of it, okay? So that they have more control. And remember what I said earlier. Sun Tzu's Art of War says, win the battle without a fight. Win the battle without a fight. Now think about that. Think about it long and hard, because that's what they could do. Now they own they own what, trillions of dollars worth of treasury bonds that they could sell and just collapse our economy overnight. They own a lot of land here in the U.S. because the U.S. is indebted to China. I remember when I was a kid, and I don't know where this saying came from, and I don't think anybody really does know where the saying came from. It just kind of popped up. I kind of looked around on the internet because when I was a kid, I don't know, it was either my mom or dad or somebody used to say, the yellow race shall rule the world. The yellow race shall rule the world. A lot of people think that that comes from the Bible. It doesn't. It doesn't have anything to do with the Bible, so let's just end that rumor right now. It's just a saying, okay, that can't be some say it was Nostradamus. Again, he never said that exact quote. So I don't know really where it came from. Don't know. I just know that I heard it as a kid. I heard that the yellow race shall rule the world. Now, whether that comes to be true or not remains to be seen. But it could happen. Okay, could happen very easily, in my estimation. So here we got the U.S. poking its finger in the eye of China, and who knows what's going on behind the scenes. Now, another saying of Sun Tzu, the greatest warrior strategist, war strategist, another saying of his is, get as close as you can to your enemy. Okay. Get as close as you can to your enemy. In other words, make like your friends. Okay. And on some level, we've had friendly relations with China. Okay. Now, was this China's manipulation of the U.S.? I think so. I don't think that we all of a sudden just decided, hey, we want to be friends with China. I think China worked their way in and slyly became our friends, knowing all along that really we're their enemies, okay? Or at least they looked at us that way. You're not going to outsmart the Chinese people. I got news for you. And now, and if they seem weak, if they seem like they're weak, like economically, Sun Tzu's art of war again, okay? Feign weakness to the enemy. Feign weakness to the enemy. Pretend like you're weak. Oh, poor me. And use that against the enemy. Let them think you're weak. So you put all these things together, people. You make up your own mind about whether China will rule the world or not. Even the Hopis say that somebody's going to come from that area. Okay, the Hopi people. In fact, they have some kind of connection there too, that is kind of supernatural and unreal. The Hopi people. And again, a lot of the natives over here might have just come. If you look at old pictures of natives and old pictures of old Chinese people, they look exactly the same. Ever notice that? Same look. Okay, skin color might be a little bit different. Basically, it's the same kind of look. So here we are. You know, we're poking our fingers in the eyes of China. Okay. Well, who else have we been pushing? Well, Russia. I've talked about that. Well, who's in leagues with China? Russia. Okay. Russia quickly became in leagues with China because, believe me, Russia is an old culture too. It's an ancient culture too. It goes back to Vikings and all that kind of stuff. And so they band together. Okay. Well, who's the stronger of those two? Well, that's debatable. That's debatable, I think. I think basically everybody has a healthy respect for China. I think Russia has a very, very healthy respect for China. I don't know if they fear China, but they have a healthy respect for them, which means they're on guard despite being friends also, okay? So, look at this giant. It's funny that Russia is represented by the bear, and when you think of China, you think of the panda bear. Two bears lined up against what? A silly-looking guy in a suit with the Abraham Lincoln suit with stars and stripes all over it. It's almost a clown image, isn't it? And the eagle, no, that's Native American. They stole that from us, so forget that. That's not theirs. They think it's theirs. So here we go, people. I mean, this is like, it's an interesting take that I'm giving here. I don't know, things pop up, in my head. And I just feel like talking about them, and so here I am talking about it. But I just think it's something to think about. It's something to watch, okay? Because it seems to be really, really in the news right now, and it's a big deal about China, and just the whole ball of wax here is intriguing. So, I just thought I'd put that out there today. I can't think of anything else right now about China that is relevant. I think that's enough relevancy with China. And you got to wonder, you just have to shake your head and wonder what really is going on here. All the players on the, I won't call it chessboard, I'll call it the Go board, which is, again, the strategic game of China. And has this encircling already been done by China? Have they already encircled the enemy? Could be. Could very well be, because that's a metaphor too for like encircling or taking control of without a fight. Again, without a fight. And you read about all the land that's been bought up here by the Chinese government. You read about all, you know that all our goods, we're dependent on them for everything. We don't make anything here in the United States anymore. We don't make clothes. We don't even make toys. We don't make, Harley Davidson might be the last holdout. There's a few things made here still, but for and some firearms, and Ruger and some of those. But a lot of, even the firearms companies, some of them have been bought up. We don't make a hell of a lot of stuff in America. You can't go around saying made in America anymore. That used to be a big, big thing, made in America. That's history. That's history. And that's why this country is in such sad, sad shape, is because that's what made the economy go. Okay? That's what made the economy run, is when we had people that were craftsmen and small companies and small factories and even large factories, steel factories and things like that were producing production. Even the cars are all, most of the cars running around here are made in China or Japan or some Eastern country. Okay? There's nothing made here in the USA anymore. In fact, even the jobs, the telephone jobs have been outsourced to not China, but lots of countries like the Philippines and Mexico. And so there's nothing here. That's why this is a house of cards. That's why it's a house of cards, is because there's nothing here anymore. There's nothing to hold this house of cards together. There's no stability. Okay? There's no stability, and a lot of people say that there's even no gold here anymore. And that China has bought up all the gold. Well, that wouldn't surprise me one little bit. Wouldn't surprise me one little bit. So anyway, these are some things that Lei Shao, Thunder Hands, I think you should think about. I don't know, just ponder it. Just some interesting facts that you can put into your little bag of tricks, your little bag of intel, okay, to kind of maybe see a little bit more beyond the BS you hear on the mainstream media. And I don't really even hear the alternative media covering this that much. Which is another thing I've been thinking about, I'm going to mention here real quick, is like the alternative media. Like, you look at my hits, I think I've mentioned this before, but what? I get 60, 70, 80, 100 hits. Over time I might get 1,000, but 1,000 in one day, 2 days, like some of these alternative news sources? Don't think so. Why is that, do you think? Why is it that okay, so I think one of my next videos, I'm going to do a poll, or I'm going to do a a review on several of the alternative websites and what you think of them and maybe your comments on them. Because I'm really interested in your feedback on that. But I watch a lot of the alternative websites because I certainly don't watch mainstream media. And I watch, I'll just name them. I watch Greg Manarino. I watch Greg Hunter. I watch X22. I watch Suspicious Observers. I watch Dutch Sense. I kind of peruse the alternative sources. I don't watch everyone, and sometimes I read what they have to say rather than watch, because I already know what they're going to say. Anybody that puts out videos every day that are over a half hour long, like X22 for example, a lot of it's going to be repetitive, okay? And so I'm going to do a poll on all this stuff, and I'll talk more about it later, about what you think of it and agendas and how much truth you get out of it, that kind of thing. I'll talk about that later though. All right, this is Thunder. I'll leave it there today. Over and out.